time to finally work on the electronics. So I have some double-sided tape on the receiver box. I'm just going to peel off the paper and stick it in there just like that. Now I've got this waterproof little seal that I'm going to feed the antenna through. And it doesn't need to be pretty yet, so I'm just going to lay it on there. Now I'm going to get the top of the receiver box, feed it through that little hole, pull it through, get the servo, pull that through, and plug it into channel 1. Either one will work. Now I'm going to move that up, open the compartment, and here is the ESC. I'm going to go ahead and slide that in, not all the way, and there is a reason, believe me, but I'm also going to feed this through the hole and plug it into channel 2, just like that. And now this part is a bit of a pain just because of all the wires, but anyways, what I need to do is I need to feed just the right amount into the receiver box and then seal this top part on there. That way, when I slide the top of the receiver box on, the cables won't come back out. Alright, with all the wires taken care of, there's one last thing I need to do before I seal this all up, and that is feed the receiver wire through the bottom and out the top. Pull that not completely tight. There's got to be enough room for it to have a little bit of play. And now all I have to do is make sure that this blue seal sits in there straight. Push this little lip into this hood right here and push down. Now it's held down by 2 screws, one on this side and the other one on this side. Now that that's taken care of, it's time to move on to the motor. So the first thing I need to do is attach the motor mount to the motor, and it's held on by 2 screws, one here and one there. Okay, next step is I need to attach the pinion gear. And if you can see, there is a little groove right there because basically I need to push this down past the lip of the motor mount. Otherwise it's going to rub up against the motor mount plate, and believe me, that's not going to be good. Now I just have to tighten it. And we are done with this part. So now I'm going to slide that peg into this hole to mount the motor. Once that's on, I'm just going to go ahead and push the pinion gear into the spur. Now there's this one screw that holds it in position that goes in right here. Before I tighten this down, I need to get the proper spacing in between the spur and the pinion gear. Alright, now that that's taken care of, we have this little gear cover that snaps on right there. Then, to hold it in place, a screw goes in on the side. Now I can finally plug the motor into the ESC. White to white, yellow to yellow, and blue to blue. To finish it off, push the ESC in the rest of the way, close the battery door, and now it's time to install this. So all that I really need to do is feed the antenna through the antenna tube. Now I just got to push the tube into the receiver box, and it's held in place with a little grub screw that goes in at an angle. And I just got to screw it in there enough so it doesn't come back out. And all the electronics are done with. So I was looking over the parts I have left over, and I have a problem. I have 6 screws left. 2 of them hold on the wing, but where did the other 4 go? Took me a while to figure it out, but I forgot to install them. They go underneath all 4 of the shocks. So what I'm going to do is remove the lower screws that hold on the rear shocks. Okay, take those off, and now just go ahead and move the shock to the side, and ta-da! That is where 2 of the screws go, right here and there. Alright, and if you're wondering, these screws hold the diff housing to the chassis, so I guess you can say they are pretty important. But now that they're taken care of, I can reattach the shocks to the rockers. Okay, now for the front, what I'm going to have to do is remove the 2 top screws. Alright, pull out the screws, pull off the shock mount, and now I can move the shock to the side and you can see where the last 2 screws go. Alright, now that those 2 screws are taken care of, I'm just going to line up the top of the shocks with the hole, put the shock mount back in, make sure it lies flat, insert the screws and screw it back down. And that is it. Now I have no more extra screws. And that is all I'm going to be doing for this video.